follow up to my last video. During this process of applying the coping tricks and attempting to increase the place of stabilization and lucidity and whatnot, self, energy, presence, all that, there's a few clues you can look out for to kind of see if things are going in a stable direction or not. And these are just overall clues about assessing the place of the consciousness in terms of dissociation and lucidity and that kind of spectrum. One is eyesight. If I'm in control of where my eyes are looking, like moving, and how my eyes are focusing, like what I'm looking at is in a clear picture and I'm not concerned with the other specifics. If I'm in control of my eye direction and focus, then I can tell I'm stable or stabilizing. And then the severity of having that versus not having that can help me know. And so if I keep catching my eyes just randomly drifting and everything's blurred and I really am not engaged in my visual experience at all, I can tell I'm pretty dissociated. And then if I can tell it kind of drifts, but if I try to move it and focus it, I can, then parts are still present, but like I have some power and some influence in the consciousness, whatnot. So eyes, direction, focus. And then we got, what was the other thing? Heart rate. So I have a little dudamahickey that I can put on my finger and like see the number of my heart rate. But when I don't have that, I can still assess it. You can just kind of put your fingers here and be like, how quick is this thing going? Or just kind of feel it. Like once you tune into it, you can kind of tell like, okay, my heart's racing a little bit. Or I can't feel my heart rate at all. Like it's not going. You can kind of tell if it's, once you put like a mindfulness assessor there, you start to get a feel for what your heart rate feels like. Kind of to like play with the mindfulness of that. It's important. It's important to be in tune with your heart, especially when in trauma recovery of any kind. So tuning with the heart rate. So I could tell, like there was a point where we were stabilizing and we were like in a really fold response state. And then about like 30 minutes into our exercises or so, estimating, we lose sense of time really easily. That's an estimate. Maybe not that much, I don't know. A little bit into things. I could tell I was more present with what I was doing. But then I tuned into my heart rate and I noticed that it was really going. And so then I could tell, okay, like I'm no longer in a fold response, but now I'm more in a flight response where my heart's racing and I'm engaged, but it's not in a lucid way, it's in a anxious way. And it's all very deep. It's happening unconsciously. And so like I wasn't in tune with this at all before. It was just all a very general feeling there weren't really words for. I couldn't get down to the specifics because there was just like so much going on and I had like no mindfulness at all. No self-awareness of specifics in terms of like cognitive abilities. Like I had like general awareness of my life, but like, moment to moment awareness of my own body was not a thing. And that's been, a big significant chunk of the healing journey is just tuning into my own existence. Because living with a dissociative identity, my brain's like, la, 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 la. I don't need to be present with the body. I'm like, wait, but you kind of do. Please come back. So tuning into the heart rate, important. So I was noticing we had shifted up. I wasn't as dissociated. And there was a thought of, okay, good. I'm having a better time. But I was able to recognize that was still a dissociative part because I was able to tune into my heart rate and realize it was going really fast. Unnecessarily for just like standing here doing whatever I was doing. And so heart rate is a good way, eyes is a good way, and then sound is one that takes a little bit more tuning in to gauge an awareness of your own experience, but in general the fold response would experience more vibrations without much interpretation. So someone could be standing here talking to me, but instead of hearing their words, I'm picking up all the background little vibrational things. And then protector parts in the sympathetic nervous system are more likely to just pick up everything. and just like be super in tune with sounds, even if they're like far off, and be able to hear them very clearly. And so if sounds are not regulated, is what I call it, a regulated experience of sound, where things are being processed in a way that things close to me sound close, and my brain interprets sound and not just vibration, and distant things sound distant, and they don't sound really close, and they're not just these rattling, jarring vibrations. That's a way I can tune into how lucid I am and stuff through my experience of auditory processing. And then we got our muscular engagement. That's communication from parts having to spit. It's communication from my subconscious parts, because we're working through stuff. We're shifting a lot. We always shift when we talk too. Lots of shifts. Lots of shifts. What was I even saying though? Come on, friend. I know, right? Muscular engagement. So, hey. Yeah, I know. Before we go there, muscular engagement, we'll get there. Skin sensitivity. The fold response will not necessarily be able to feel things. Like if I poke this, it would be a very dulled sensation, not a specific sensation. And then in my experience also, the sympathetic protector parts will feel things very specifically. Like if I feel like right now I felt a fly on me, it wasn't just a casual something small landing on one part of my body. It was I feel every single one of this fly's little paws, and it's like an all-consuming sensation on my whole shoulder. What's happening? It's that hyper awareness. And so tuning into my skin sensations is another great way to tell if I'm dissociated or lucid, or where I am on the spectrum of those. And then muscular engagement. So if I'm having a hard time moving my body, if my body's really just like wants to do this, and that would look like if I outstretch my arm and push it back, that would be really difficult to do. Like just doing this would be really difficult. It would look like leaning my neck back would be really, really difficult. I might not be able to do it. I might injure myself. I might feel a sense of panic inside. Neck, arms, and then legs and hips. If my legs are having a hard time fully straightening and I can't freely move my hips around, I can tell that my body's unconsciously in the fold response. And then likewise, if my body just has a lot of energy and I can't keep up with it, if my body is moving faster than my mind is sensing the movement of my body, then there's sympathetic protector parts present and I'm dissociated. When I can tune in and experience a cognitive connection to my muscles throughout my whole body, I know that I'm lucid. If I can tune into muscles in my abdomen but not my limbs, or some other variety where I can feel a portion of my muscles but a lot of my muscles I cannot consciously connect with simultaneously, I can tell I'm blended. I am somewhat present, but there's also parts here affecting my unconsciously affecting my life experience. So yeah, just a few ways to kind of tap in and see what's up in the consciousness through the body. And moment by moment, you can kind of just tune in. And then when you're using like the coping tricks, like I was sharing before in the last video, you can use these awareness clues and tips to kind of see where you're at, if things are working, if kind of just gauge your progress. Being able to witness my shift up towards a more lucid place is really empowering, because then protectors are like, oh, we have power. And then protectors remember to use these coping tricks even if I'm not lucid and present for it, because they've been present to witness how helpful it can be, and they've actually seen the usefulness of it. There's so many tools where it's like it doesn't do something as quickly as we want it to, or it's there's a variety of things, but it's tricky to find something where you can just put in effort and really see the benefits of it. And we've been able to do that in about 2 months, and it's still a few weeks, it's still putting in effort and everything, but considering I was in mental health treatment for over a decade and never felt that much relief in 2 months, this is a big win. So I'm really excited to continue creating these original coping resources and sharing them with you all. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day, my brave, beautiful warrior soul friends. And if you ever want to join our exclusive healing journey where we're sharing all of these original resources as we create them, all the behind the scenes of the Kristen Chronicles, weekly, frequent meditations with us. Some of them are even like 20 minutes long. We just hang out and get raw and real and dive deep, and sharing our dissociative identity disorder mind-body connection case study with Dr. Luka Music, and sharing the behind-the-scenes creation of the dissociative identity movement, and sharing my own personal healing journey and the way I self-therapize myself, and just a variety of amazing things. You can check out patreon.com/Kristen Chronicles. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this healing journey. I'm just so blessed to know that you are here, a part of this miraculous unfolding. Have a beautiful and blessed day, warriors.